My father's last wish before he died was to see me marry Sarah, the woman I'd been with for 10 years. The day our families met to plan the wedding, my girlfriend suddenly laughed coldly. "Alex said you were manipulative," she told me, "that you'd do anything to force a wedding. And he was right. You even lied about your dad dying just to get me to say yes. Mark, if you want to get married, marry yourself." Then she left me. She and Alex went hiking to the top of a mountain and posted a picture shouting, "Here's to friendship." I was the one who had to go back to the hospital and say goodbye to my father all alone. From that day on, I was completely by myself in this world. What should have been a celebration turned into a disaster. My dad had barely been out of the hospital for a day before he was right back in. This time, it was clearly worse. When no one else was around, the doctor just shook his head at me. Tears instantly welled in my eyes. I clutched my chest, which ached horribly, and gasped for breath. Turning back, I wiped my eyes and forced a smile. "Dad, the doctor says you're fine. It's just like last time. You'll be able to go home right after the surgery." My father took off the fedora he'd so carefully chosen, revealing his bald head. He gave me a weak smile. "Mark, don't lie to me. I know my own body." Suddenly, his gaze drifted to a point in the air, and his expression went vacant. "I can see your mom. She's here to get me." In that moment, a powerful wave of panic washed over me. I gripped his hand tightly, begging him over and over, "Dad, please don't leave me alone. You're all I have." My father's eyes reddened. He struggled to lift his hand and touch my face. "Good boy. I don't want to leave you either. I haven't even seen you get married. Who will take care of you when I'm gone?" I ran out of the hospital room and frantically started calling Sarah. "Please, just pick up." I called non-stop for half an hour until someone finally answered. I was so relieved I started crying. "Sarah, you have to come back. My dad is—" A clear male voice cut me off. "Can you make it quick? We're kind of busy." It was Alex. I felt like I was choking. My voice disappeared. After a long moment, I found my voice again. "Where's Sarah?" Alex scoffed. "What's it to you?" He hung up. When I tried to call back, I got the automated message that the user was on another call. She had blocked me. I stared down the sterile white hallway, feeling like I was wandering through an endless empty space. One wrong step, and I'd fall. "Sarah, didn't you say there was nothing going on between you and Alex? Why was your phone in his hands? Why did he answer my call? Why could he block me from your phone?" I went to college right next to Sarah's. Starting her junior year, every time she came to see me, she would vent endlessly about an underclassman who was 2 years behind her. He was relentlessly hitting on her, even trying to bribe her friends to get her. Personal information. Sarah told him countless times that she had a boyfriend and that we were very much in love. But Alex didn't care. He kept pushing, saying he liked her, and it didn't matter if she liked him back or if she had a boyfriend. No one had the right to interfere. Sarah even called the campus police, but it was useless. Thankfully, college flew by, and after she graduated, it seemed she could finally get away from Alex for good. But reality is often cruel. Last year, Alex got a job at Sarah's company. He still wouldn't give up, sending her flowers and coffee every day, causing a huge stir at the office. For a while, Sarah told me she was thinking about quitting. I supported her decision, but after that, she never mentioned quitting again, nor did she mention Alex. I was the one who finally asked what happened to him. Sarah paused for a second, then said casually, "He got a girlfriend, so he stopped bothering me." I breathed a sigh of relief for her, But one day, I had to use her computer for something urgent. I accidentally clicked on an old, unused messaging account of hers and saw her one and only pinned contact. Rogue. I immediately connected him to Alex. I opened their chat history. Page after page, I scrolled and scrolled, but I couldn't find the end. I hadn't seen a chat history that long since the early days when Sarah and I were first falling in love. When Sarah came out of the shower, I turned the laptop screen toward her. For a split second, her face flashed with panic, but she quickly composed herself. "I told you, he has a girlfriend. We're just friends now. Can't friends chat?" I stared straight at her. "Friends? Alex mentioned he had stomach problems 6 months ago, and since then you've been reminding him about his monthly checkups, telling him to take his medicine on time and watch his diet. And as a friend, when he said the power was out at his place and he was scared of the dark, he asked you to come spend the night?" When I said that, Sarah acted like she'd caught me in a trap. "Can't you tell that was a joke?" she shot back. "How many truths are hidden in jokes?" I retorted. "Especially from a guy who chased you for 2 years in college." Sarah's expression stiffened. "Think whatever you want," she said, and walked out. We had a rule. If we had a problem, we'd talk it out on the spot. We'd never let it last overnight, and we would never give each other the silent treatment. But she left anyway. I sat on the couch and cried for a long time. When I finally fell asleep, there were still tears on my face. We had been together for 9 years. I thought we were an inseparable part of each other. I never imagined she would give a piece of herself away to someone else. When I woke up again, I was in bed. The AC was set to my perfect temperature. Sarah was sitting on the edge of the bed, looking at me with deep affection. "I'm sorry, Mark. I shouldn't have said those things. I admit I've been talking to Alex too, much lately. It's because you've been so busy with work this year, and I was upset about not getting the promotion. I didn't know who to talk to, so I lost my sense of proportion. It won't happen again. I've already deleted him and put in my resignation. I swear we'll never have any contact again. Can you forgive me this one time, please?" She handed me her phone, her face open and honest, as if inviting me to look through it. I didn't hold back. I took it and went through everything. She had erased every trace of Alex. My voice was hoarse. "Why did you call him Rogue?" Sarah sighed. "You know how it is. Everyone at my company has to have a nickname. Rogue was his." That incident didn't have a major impact on our relationship. Adult love is mixed with so many other things. We were long past the point of endlessly questioning, "Do you love me?" over every little thing. She quickly found a new job, and our lives returned to normal, until everything blew up at the hotel while we were planning the wedding. Sarah's words, "Alex said you were manipulative," made me realize they had never stopped talking. My father passed away. I felt like I was trapped under a glass dome, unable to receive any signals from the outside world. The pain couldn't dissipate. It just clung to me, suffocating me. I wore a crisp suit, held a bouquet of flowers, and watched with my own eyes as my father's casket was pushed into the cremator. In that moment, something clicked. Maybe my father didn't just want to see me get married. Sarah and I had been together for 10 years, and she never once brought up marriage. Maybe in his final moments, he wanted to help me see a woman for who she really was. He was a father looking out for his son, even at the very end. I hugged the flowers and slid down into a corner, curling into a ball and crying silently. In the end, I went home with a box that weighed only a few pounds. On the way back, Sarah unblocked me. I saw the post on her social feed. She had gone hiking with a few friends. Standing on the summit, they held up a banner. "Friendship forever." I knew Alex must have been there, but he wasn't in the picture. The more you try to hide something, the guiltier you look. But I didn't care anymore. Just as I was about to delete her, she sent me a message. "Have you realized you were wrong yet?" I let out a self-deprecating laugh and, without a second's hesitation, blocked and deleted her. I had already quit my job. My father was a man from the countryside, with little education, who had never left his hometown in his entire life. When I was little, he would often tell me, "The world is a big place. Dad never got a chance to see it, but you have to go see as much as you can." I swore that as soon as I made enough money, I would take him to see the wonders of the world. But right after graduation, I had no money. Later, when I had money, I had no time. I kept putting it off. Who knew that not all regrets can be fixed? I held my father's, burned tightly. The cold box somehow made me feel warm. "Dad, the world is a big place. Let me take you to see it, okay?" From the moment she sent the message until she got off the plane, Sarah's phone remained silent. She opened and closed her messaging app a dozen times before she couldn't stand it anymore. Tapping on Mark's profile, she started typing. "We agreed not to give each other the silent treatment. I'll pretend that whole thing never happened." Alex came up from behind her and glanced at her phone. "Your boyfriend still hasn't messaged you back?" he asked, feigning innocence. Being watched like that, Sarah felt a little embarrassed and shut her phone. "Yeah." Alex's face suddenly filled with guilt. "I'm sorry." Sarah was surprised. "What does this have to do with you?" He looked down, his voice full of remorse. "If I hadn't exposed Mark's intentions, you two wouldn't have fought." Sarah patted his head. "He was the one with bad intentions, using a lame excuse like Mr. Evans being on his deathbed to force a marriage. It has nothing to do with you." He looked up. "Why don't you go apologize to Mark? If this ruins your relationship, I'll never be able to live with myself." Perhaps it was a woman's pride. Now that someone else had suggested the very thing she was about to do, she wouldn't do it for anything. Sarah waved her hand dismissively. "He's the one who lied. Why should I apologize? It's not like I'm his property." "Don't say that. Mark is still your boyfriend. You two shouldn't—" She cut him off. "Let's not talk about him. Aren't we going camping tonight? If we don't get going, we'll be late." For the week after she got back, Sarah hung out with Alex every day. She never once tried to contact Mark, so of course she didn't know he had already blocked her. She even brought Alex to her college roommate's bachelorette party. Mark knew the roommate too. In college, Sarah used to bring him along to hang out with them all the time. Seeing who was with Sarah, the roommate was shocked. "So this is what happens when the persistent guy finally wins? Did you and Mark break up?" Sarah shot her a look. "What are you talking about? Alex and I are just friends now." The roommate rubbed her nose. "Oh, I thought he was the new brother-in-law. Did you and your boyfriend have a fight?" Sarah frowned. "Don't bring it up. And didn't you say you were never getting married? What made you change your mind this year?" The roommate said, "What could I do? He was pushing for it, and so were my parents." Her tone was complaining, but she couldn't hide the smile on her face. Then she asked, "So when are you two getting married?" Sarah thought of the disastrous meeting at the hotel and said irritably, "Who says you have to get married?" She really didn't understand why all her friends were suddenly getting married one by one. You could still get a divorce, couldn't you? The thought of being tied to the same person for decades just seemed so boring. Her roommate's expression suddenly turned serious. "Be honest with me. Have you had a change of heart?" She glanced at Alex. Sarah instinctively wanted to deny it, but the words caught in her throat. Had she? She did feel that being with Alex was easy and fun, They had endless things to talk about. It was a feeling she hadn't experienced with Mark in a long time. Was that a change of heart? But she and Mark had been together for 10 years, from secretly holding hands in class at 17 to now, at 27. How many decades does a person get in a lifetime? Sarah fell silent. Her roommate patted her shoulder and walked away. The party was lively that night, with bottle after bottle of wine being opened. Sarah didn't know how much she drank, but she got thoroughly drunk. In a daze, she felt someone steadying her. Alex's eyes were burning as he said her name. Sarah. He helped her into an empty room and carefully unbuttoned her coat. The alcohol made the room feel hot and stirred up strange feelings. When Alex leaned in, Sarah didn't push him away. She enjoyed his gentle attentiveness and the look of adoration in his eyes. I've really liked you for a long time, ever since the first time I saw you. She met his gaze. It was filled with focus, worship, and admiration, things she had never seen from Mark. Mark was strong. It seemed like no matter what challenge he faced, it was never a big deal. Back in their first year of high school, a classmate had said, "That top-ranked guy in our class is so arrogant. He acts like he's better than everyone." When Mark wasn't smiling, he seemed cold and distant, making people around him feel anxious, wondering if they had done something wrong to make him angry. After getting to know him, Sarah learned that he was cold on the outside, but had the softest heart. In their second year, she fell while playing basketball and got a long, bloody gash on her knee. For her, it was a common occurrence, but when Mark saw it, his eyes reddened as he asked, "Does it hurt?" Sarah melted in the tenderness he occasionally showed, and a thought sparked in her mind. She wanted to be with Mark forever. The first year after graduation, she had a huge fight with her family over something she couldn't remember and was cut off financially. On top of that, work wasn't going well, and she felt like the sky was gray during that time. Mark not only didn't look down on her, but he also let her stay with him for half a year, covering all her expenses, helping her find a job, and even mediating things with her family. What left the deepest impression was a year ago, when Mark was sent abroad for a 6-month assignment. During that time, her beloved grandmother passed away. Sarah was devastated. After the funeral, she hid in her room, refusing to eat or drink for days. Mark came back unexpectedly, knocking on her door with a bento box he had made himself. When he saw her, he said only one thing: "You must be hungry." Mark loved his work. His colleagues joked that he was a work robot sent from another planet. Even so, he had unhesitatingly sat on a plane for over a day to fly back and stay with her for a week. At her most vulnerable, Sarah leaned against him and asked, "Why are you so good to me?" Mark expressed his love without hesitation. "Because you're my girlfriend. Because I love you. Because I love you." Sarah's senses snapped back. She shoved Alex away, straightened her clothes, and fled. "This room is yours. I'll find another one." Lying in the new bed, Sarah admitted to herself that she missed Mark. This past week, without his presence, she'd had a wild time, forgetting everything else. But whenever things got quiet, she felt a profound emptiness. She understood now it was because she missed him. Sarah felt a wave of relief that they hadn't gone all the way. Otherwise, she wouldn't know how to face Mark. She wanted to call him, but felt a strange sense of guilt. After thinking it over, she decided to start by making things right with his father. Mr. Evans really liked her. Every time he saw her, he would hold her hand and ask how she was doing. If she sincerely apologized for what happened that day, he probably wouldn't blame her, right? The next morning, she brought a fruit basket and a bouquet of flowers to the hospital. But the bed where Mr. Evans had been was now occupied by a stranger. The woman in the next bed was still the same familiar face. Sarah's heart sank. She asked the woman, "Ma'am, do you know where the person who used to be in this bed went?" "You mean Robert Evans?" The woman sighed sadly. "You didn't know? He passed away a week ago. His illness was incurable anyway. A week ago, he pushed himself to leave the hospital, said he was going to talk to his son's future in-laws about the wedding. Who would have thought he'd be gone the same day he came back?" Sarah's mind went blank. The scene from that day flashed before her eyes. Mr. Evans had been wearing a respectable fedora. Though his face was pale, his spirits seemed high. She suddenly felt a sharp pain in her chest and could barely stand. He was gone. That meant Mark hadn't been lying. The things she'd said that day, no wonder Mark's eyes were so red. She had thought he was just furious that his lie had been exposed. Sarah started to tremble. She didn't dare think any further. She stumbled out of the hospital. The sun was shining brightly outside, but it couldn't warm her. She was so cold. So cold. Sarah took a deep breath, leaned against a wall, and tried to call Mark. It didn't go through. She was still blocked. She went to Mark's apartment and knocked for a long time until a neighbor came out to complain, but no one opened the door. Sarah suddenly remembered she had a key. She frantically searched for it, only to find that the lock had been changed. She thought of Mark's company. It was her last hope. But fate was not on her side. His colleague told her, "Mark quit. We heard he's going to travel the world. Aren't you his girlfriend? He didn't tell you?" Sarah asked, "When is he coming back?" The colleague shrugged. "No idea. He didn't say." Sarah walked out of the building, her legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the sidewalk. Mark was done with her. Just then, she thought of someone. Mark's best friend. She called him, and as soon as she explained why she was calling, she was met with a barrage of vicious insults. "Go to hell, you bitch! You'll never hear from him again!" The phone fell from her hand. Standing on the busy street, she suddenly realized she had lost all contact with Mark. I made it to Iceland. Unfortunately, I picked the wrong time of year. I was there for 2 weeks and didn't see the aurora once. One evening, just after I finished dinner, my best friend, Ben, called from back home, just as he was waking up. "It's over, man. Sarah is officially going to be your crazy ex-girlfriend story for life." Apparently, Sarah had been hounding him for a month, desperately asking for any news about me. Ben had always had issues with her not wanting to get married after 10 years, and now that she'd done something so awful, he couldn't even stand the sight of her. He either cussed her out or just ignored her. When she realized she wasn't getting anything out of him, she lost her mind and started camping out on my family's doorstep. And Alex was a real piece of work. Even with Sarah acting like this, he was still madly in love, trailing after her every day, trying to talk sense into her. Ben said excitedly, "You won't believe it. Yesterday, Alex brought his parents over to help persuade her. Sarah finally snapped and tore into him, calling him a two-faced manipulator who ruined your relationship." A cheater is a cheater. Blame the world, blame everyone else, but never yourself. Hearing her name no longer stirred any emotion in me. I listened to it like it was just gossip. "She won't last long," I said, uninterested. Just then, someone knocked on my door. I opened it to find a vibrant young woman. She was dressed in a black windbreaker, her eyes crinkling as she smiled. Her smile seemed to warm up the whole of icy Iceland. "I heard there's a good chance of seeing the aurora tonight. Want to go for a drive and find it?" Ben was shouting on the other end of the phone. "Who's that? I knew it, Mark. You move fast. If Sarah finds out you've already got a new flame, she'll lose her mind." His voice was so loud that the girl, Claire, obviously heard him. Her face turned a little red. I said awkwardly, "Don't talk nonsense. I've got to go. I'll call you later." I hung up and explained to her, "He likes to talk crap. Don't mind him." Claire mumbled something under her breath. I was pretty happy to hear it. I didn't quite catch it. "What?" She smiled brightly. "Nothing. I said we should get going." I met Claire in Phuket, the second stop on my trip. I had mustered up all my courage to try an underwater sea walk. Just as I was about to surface, my oxygen helmet suddenly came loose. I thrashed desperately. I don't know if the water was too murky or if the safety diver was distracted, but no one came to help me. The fear of death enveloped me. The necklace holding my father's ashes floated in front of my eyes. For a moment, I thought about giving up. If you have a loved one waiting for you in the next world, then dying isn't so scary, is it? With that thought, I slowly lowered my arms, letting myself sink. Just as I was about to slip into darkness, a hand grabbed my suit. I was dragged to shore. When I came to, I was met with a pair of concerned eyes. "Are you okay?" I coughed up some water, feeling both the joy of survival and a faint hint of regret. I gave the girl a grateful smile. "Thank you." Later, I treated her to a meal. In our brief conversation, I learned that she had just graduated from college and was also traveling the world. We wordlessly agreed not to exchange contact information, just ships passing in the night. You have a chance encounter with someone in a random place, you have a great conversation, but you know you'll never see them again. The next day, I left Phuket and continued my journey. Who knew that a month later, Claire and I would meet again in Iceland? Meeting unexpectedly in a foreign country, we naturally felt a sense of closeness and decided to chase the northern lights together. However, neither of us had much luck. As soon as we arrived, our guide told us it wasn't peak season for the aurora. Seeing it would take a lot of luck. It was the longest I'd ever stayed in one place, all because of a stubborn conviction. I had to show my father the sights he had never seen. In the car, Claire suddenly asked me, "Mark, do you think we'll see the aurora tonight?" I thought for a moment and shook my head. "I don't know." She smiled playfully. "Want to make a bet?" "What kind of bet?" "If we see the aurora tonight, we travel together from now on. How about it?" I hesitated. I had planned on doing this trip alone. But then I thought, it's not like we're guaranteed to see the lights tonight anyway. I shouldn't be a spoil sport. I nodded. "Okay." Claire immediately clasped her hands together and closed her eyes in prayer. "Please, God, let us see the aurora tonight." "Aren't we in Europe?" I teased. "I think people here usually pray to God." Claire switched seamlessly to English. "God, please let us see the aurora tonight." I couldn't help but chuckle. Traveling with an interesting person makes the journey more interesting, right? The car drove on, and the night grew later, but there was still no sign of the aurora. I felt a pang of disappointment, figuring it was another failed attempt. We refused to give up and waited until deep into the night, but still nothing. We had no choice but to head back. I was packing up our things when Claire suddenly shouted from behind me, "Mark, turn around!" I turned, confused, and was instantly stunned. Dancing green lights had at some point covered the entire sky. They shimmered and pulsed, magnificent like faceted green emeralds refracting light. Tears filled my eyes as I clutched my necklace. "Dad, can you see this?" Click. Claire took a picture of me. I was holding the necklace reverently, my eyes fixed on the aurora-filled sky. She grinned. "Mark, from now on, let's go see the rest of the world together." A year later, I left the last stop of my journey and returned to the house that had been empty for a year. My father's water glass on the table, the half-finished sweater on the sofa, the 2 sets of bowls still in the dishwasher. Everything was exactly as he had left it. I could almost still smell his reassuring scent. This was why I had to flee the city. The moment I walked in, I was overwhelmed with memories of him. Now, I was finally able to calmly pack everything away. In the evening, I took a bag of trash downstairs and, incredibly, saw Sarah. Her hair was a mess, her face gaunt. She looked haggard. A year without seeing each other felt like a lifetime. I glanced at her for only a second before looking away and tossing the trash where it belonged. When I looked up again, she was gone. She vanished so quickly it made me wonder if I had imagined her. Just as well. I was in no mood for small talk. Being strangers was the best outcome. Later that night, someone knocked on the door. I thought it was Claire. We had returned to the country together. She had wanted me to go back to her home with her, but I felt it was too sudden and inappropriate. When I opened the door, it was Sarah. She was holding a huge bouquet of roses, dressed in a chic women's suit. From her hair to her perfume, everything about her screamed that she had carefully prepared for this. "Mark?" Sarah said my name with deep emotion, then dropped to one knee and held up a ring. "Will you marry me? Let me spend the rest of my life atoning and taking care of you." My eyes landed on her face. I felt no emotion, only a sense of the bizarre. It was like being hit on by a clown. I asked honestly, "Are you joking? Or did Alex tell you I was being manipulative again, and you're here to test me?" Sarah's expression went blank for a moment, then shifted to embarrassment, helplessness, and finally settled on frustration. "I was too young before. I let you and Mr. Evans down. In the year you were gone, I regretted it every single moment." I didn't believe a single word she said. I looked down at her. "I've always wondered, do you just really hate me? Before I brought our families together to discuss the wedding, I asked for your opinion. You said it was fine. That's why I suggested we keep it simple, just a meal for our families to meet and confirm the wedding details. Getting married is a choice. I gave you a choice, not an ultimatum. But you chose the most humiliating way possible to reject me. For a while, I couldn't understand it. I was in so much pain. Just because you had a change of heart, you thought you could trample all over my dignity without a second thought? Then I figured it out. You should never try to understand a psycho with normal logic." I let out a cold laugh and stepped back to close the door. Sarah shot up and grabbed my hand. "Mark, I didn't have a change of heart. It's just that we were together for so long, and everyone kept asking when we were getting married. I just wasn't ready yet, so I vented to Alex a bit, and he ended up misleading me. There's nothing between him and me. I've only ever loved you. I did then, I do now, and I always will. Please, just forgive me this one time, okay?" A cold male voice cut in. "Right. Clothes came off, we made out. But since we didn't go all the way, it doesn't count, does it?" Alex stood there with his arms crossed, his eyes full of anger, the smugness from the phone call completely gone. "Why are you putting all the blame on me? If you really felt nothing for me, why did you deliberately ruin my blind date when I was trying to give up on you? Why did you always baby me every time I wasn't feeling well?" Sarah's face turned shades of red and purple. Finally, she squeezed out, "I was just drunk that night." I laughed. What a classic excuse for cheating. I'm not interested in your drama. Can you both just get lost? Alex sneered. You hear that? He doesn't want to see you. Sarah, furious and embarrassed, said coldly, "Shut up. Mark and I haven't broken up yet. You have no right to comment on our business. And besides, I'm not into you. Got it?" Alex's eyes immediately turned red. "Sarah, I hate you," he spat out the words, turned, and left. Sarah was unfazed, as if he didn't even exist in her world. I was a little annoyed. "A breakup, huh? I guess we never officially had that conversation." But I raised my right hand, showing her the ring on my index finger. "Well, let's make it official now. After all, I'm a married man. It's not appropriate to still be tied to an ex-girlfriend." It was true. Claire and I had gotten legally married in Andorra a month ago. She had broken a bone while skiing there, so we ended up staying for half a year. She had heard from somewhere that divorce is illegal there and proposed to me. We both knew it couldn't truly bind us. But she said, "For some, it's a curse, but for others, it's a blessing. I hope we can be together forever." Some people know each other for 10 years and can't make it to the altar. We had only known each other for a year and had really only been together for 6 months. But we had already been through so much. We had faced life and death together, supported each other through hardship, and laid under the northern lights, sharing the stories of our lives. We had laughed and cried together, sharing so many firsts. Without even realizing it, I and she had become we. Us. We. And so, on a beautiful street in Andorra, I accepted her ring. She cheered and jumped for joy, inviting passers-by to share in her happiness. I don't know if I made the right choice, but I know that even if it turns out to be the wrong one, I'll be able to smile, wave it off, and say, "Oh well, goodbye then." I didn't overthink it. I touched my necklace with my ring-adorned hand, sharing the joy with my father. And now I was sharing it with my ex-girlfriend. It felt like the year had come full circle. Sarah stared at my ring in disbelief, her eyes burning so intensely it felt like she was trying to bore a hole through it. Just as I was about to speak, Claire walked out of the elevator and naturally linked her arm with mine. "Honey, why are you chatting with a guest out here? Why not invite her in?" She easily connected Sarah with the ex-girlfriend story I had told her, her eyes and expression a clear warning laced with hostility. I patted her hand. "I'm under no obligation to invite her in." Claire was very pleased, smiling like a sly little fox who'd gotten the cream. She whipped an invitation out of her pocket. "You must be the ex my husband was just complaining about, right? A pleasure. My treat. Mark and I are getting married at the Crestview Hotel in 2 weeks. If you're too busy to come, you can just send a cash gift. I don't mind." Sarah had been silent since Claire appeared, her hand trembling as she took the invitation. Claire let go, satisfied, and pulled me inside, whispering sourly in my ear, "Didn't you support her for half a year? I'm definitely getting that money back from her wedding gift." My little miser. The door swung shut, closing off Sarah's sad, vacant stare. The moment the door closed, Claire's composed act shattered. She grabbed me, looking me over from head to toe. "Did she bully you?" I laughed. "What do you think? And didn't you go home? What are you doing back here so soon?" She froze for a second, then looked down. "You know I don't have much to say to them." Claire's personal story was far more complicated than mine. If you used her as a protagonist, you could easily write a 100,000-word melodrama. The lost heiress returns. After I disappeared, my wealthy parents adopted a fake daughter. 18 years later, I'm back for revenge. Of course, in that story, Claire wouldn't be the hero. She'd be the villain, the fake daughter. The difference was, Claire was genuinely grateful for the 18 years of love and care from her adoptive parents. Even when the real daughter nearly got her killed, and her adoptive parents, the Grants, chose to cover it up, All Claire did was silently move out. This past year of travel had been her journey of self-exile. "I was just searching for the meaning of life," she'd said, "and now I've found it." When she said that, she looked right at me, her eyes filled with joy and dependence. Claire planned the entire wedding. With time on my hands, I ran into some trouble. A guy was standing at my door, chin held high, as proud as a peacock. "I'm Claire's boyfriend," I helpfully corrected him. "Ex-boyfriend." He got angry. "You've only known Claire for a year. What makes you think you can compare to our decades-long relationship? We were childhood sweethearts." "Oh, you mean after the real heiress came home, you ruthlessly kicked Claire to the curb and got engaged to the real one?" "She told you even that?" "Of course. Did you think it was something to be ashamed of?" The guy looked a little guilty. "So what? I had to make that choice. You expect me to stick with a penniless imposter?" Now, I was angry. "Your choice wasn't wrong, but you standing here now is a mistake. She's a good person. I don't think you have any right to hurt her, and you certainly don't have the right to act like nothing happened after you did." I added with a frown, "Honestly, it's disgusting." The guy got mad and reached out to shove me. "What right do you have to talk to me like that?" Claire appeared just in time, grabbing his hand. "That's enough. Please stay away from my husband, Mr. Chen." The guy, Ryan, looked wronged. "I just missed you." Claire's face was expressionless. "Unsubscribe." I almost burst out laughing at her deadpan humor, but realized it wasn't the right time and covered my smile with my hand. This time, the guy truly had no face left to stay. After he left, before I could say anything, Claire grabbed my hand, her face full of guilt. "I'm so sorry, Mark. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, he wouldn't have come looking for you. Please don't be mad. I'll talk to them and make it clear. I won't have anything to do with Ryan or the Grant family anymore, or maybe I should take your last name after we get married." I covered her mouth. "That's not necessary. I'm not mad at you." Claire looked at me, blinking. Then a slick of moisture slid across my palm. I yanked my hand back and pinched her ear. "You're such a freak!" On our wedding day, both Sarah and Ryan showed up. Whatever, as long as they brought a gift. During the ring exchange, Claire was shaking so hard from crying that I could barely get the ring on her finger. I whispered in a voice only we could hear, "Stop crying. If you keep crying, your makeup will run, and you won't look pretty." Claire immediately stopped crying, her eyes wide as saucers. I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. Ben, who had been roped into being our photographer, captured that exact moment, the bride with her teary eyes and the groom doubled over in laughter.